This
It's not.
conference will now be recorded.
And Rick, I'd like
Welcome
to.
tonight
Oh, sorry.
to the
I just.
MS group.
Yeah.
It's okay, John. I've
Sorry.
slept not that much today, so if I even have more cognition issues than normal, we'll roll with it. So let's go ahead and
Likewise.
do introductions. My name is Kim. I'm from Iowa, relapsing remitting, diagnosed in 2012, currently on Ocrevus. And let's have Karen introduce herself and let me know if you need any time. Welcome, Karen.
Do I have to say my name is Karen again?
It's up
I'm
to
in
you.
Oakland. I'm in Oakland, California, near the San Francisco Bay, but we get better weather over here. And I was diagnosed with primary progressive MS in 2019, January 2019. And how many years is that? I don't know, because I don't have cognition anymore for math and a lot of things. And I'm not on any disease modifying therapy because I'm told there's no hope when you're old, which is sort of true because, you know, your body's breaking down and then whatever. Anyway, is that all I need to say?
Did you need time tonight?
Well, I'll do later on because you're talking about fatigue. So I have some input around the issue of fatigue.
Okay. Frank, welcome. Introduce yourself, please.
My name is Frank Austin. I live in western Kansas, out in the middle of nowhere. I was diagnosed in 1997, but I've had it a lot longer than that. Secondary progressive MS. I'm on absolutely nothing, and I need no time tonight whatsoever.
No time. Okay, Frank. Andrea, welcome. Introduce yourself, please.
Hi, my name is Andrea, and I live on the North Carolina Outer Banks. I was diagnosed in 2012, and I'm going to talk to my doctor on Friday about getting back on a med. Yay.
Did you need time tonight?
I don't know.
Okay, put you down for question mark. Welcome. Marlo, introduce yourself. Welcome.
Sterling Heights, Michigan, onset 1997, diagnosed in 22, dimethyl fumarate, and I do not need time.
Okay, thank you. Jennifer, welcome. Introduce yourself.
Hi, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm Jennifer. I am from Richmond, Indiana. I was diagnosed 2019, April 4th, with relapse remitting, and I am no longer taking Aubagio.
Did you need time tonight?
Yes, please.
Okay, great. Maria, welcome. Go ahead and introduce yourself. I'm sorry, Marie. Sorry, it's that cognition issue tonight. If I butcher anybody's names tonight, I apologize. Gently correct me. Be gentle.
That's okay. I can't speak anyway. I'm from New Jersey. I'm on Ocrevus. I was relapsing remitting, diagnosed in 2021. Though I think I'm progressive, and that was pretty much the consensus last time I talked to my doctor. I don't need any time tonight.
Okay, thank you, Marie. John, welcome. Introduce yourself, please.
Hey, I'm John, and I live in central Michigan. I'm on. I almost just said I'm on Aubagio, but I'm not. I just like. I just like the way we say it. I'm on Zeposia. And I was diagnosed in 2016 with relapsing remitting. And I will need a little bit of time tonight. Thanks, Kim.
Okay, thank you, John. Welcome, Sherry. Please introduce yourself.
I'm Sherry from Northern Michigan. I'm diagnosed 2008 and I'm not on the medication yet.
Okay. Did you need time tonight?
Maybe.
Maybe? Okay. Thank you, Sherry. And Allison, welcome. Go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
Hi, I'm Allison. I'm from Simi Valley, California, and I was introduced to this group, and I'm so glad to be here. I was diagnosed in 2005 with relapsing remitting, and I am on Mavenclad, and I'm new here, so I'm not going to take up any time. I would just love to listen.
Okay. Well, a lot of times we do like to get your background story and answer any
Okay.
questions that the newbies have because they're always like, "Oh, I don't know what's going on." But I'll swing back to you here in just a little bit. Okay, Allison? Hey,
Let me ask a
welcome.
question.
How'd you hear about us?
You know what? My daughter researched MS support groups, and I had reached out. I might have reached out. She gave me two names and numbers, and I reached out to both of them. And then I got the email that it was starting, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to miss this because I'm also a recovering alcoholic, and support groups like this are really important to me. So, yeah, I'm just really glad. I'm just really blessed. My daughter, she kind of put this together for me. I didn't do this by myself.
Well, welcome.
Thank
Welcome.
you.
So glad your daughter is helping you out there.
She
And
helps
then
me out a lot.
Good.
it's amazing to have amazing people in our lives that give us a little extra boost when we need it.
Mm,
Like this guy, he can't hear you, but like this guy. Wave, honey. Yeah, like that guy. He's amazing like me. You were gonna say something, Frank? You're on mute. You're still on mute.
You know Carla Pascaglua by any chance? You know anybody else in the EMS community in Simi Valley?
no, I don't.
Okay, all right. I just happen to know a lady that lives in Simi Valley
Do
that I've known for
you?
years.
Oh,
Yes.
I would love to get her name and number from you, Frank, when we're finished.
Okay, get it for you.
Thank you.
So just a quick word for Alison. There's a chat window on this forum, which in this particular group is usually very active. And if you go to the top right-hand corner and you see those two little squares and click on those two little squares, it'll open up the chat window. There'll be all kinds of messages in there over the course, and Frank can send you either directly to everybody to say, look, see, everybody's putting messages in the chat window.
I know,
And,
I see them.
and Frank will, you can message to everybody or you can message to somebody individually, and you and Frank can exchange information in there.
Thank
That's
you.
it.
And then I would like to say that Jen Digman sends her apologies tonight. She was going to moderate, but she had her infection infusion today, and she's supposed to advocate early tomorrow morning with her husband Dan. But she says if the steroids are pumping in her system, she might join later on. So, well,
And
let's get
a caveat about the messages, because sometimes, you send someone a private message and then afterwards you forgot that you put private message and you send them something totally unrelated and they're wondering, what the heck was that? But we don't kind of do that here because we know we're goofy.
let's go ahead and get started with Big Red Jennifer.
Sorry, I'm a little slow today.
You're telling me, Jen? You're telling me. The one with the lack of sleep, and I'm trying to keep my 2 brain cells working.
It's okay. Lots been going on. Wow. I canceled my neck surgery because I was getting my girl bits looked at. Um, so I received my pathology test last week, and I was diagnosed with cervical adenocarcinoma in situ, which is a cervical cancer, but I'm finding out what stage it's in. I don't know what stage it's in yet, but I go Thursday for a CT scan, and then May 30th, I go to Indianapolis to a cancer specialist there that deals with the girl bit. Why not?
I have too many friends of mine who are young getting cancer. It just seems like every time I turn around, there's someone else that's been diagnosed. I'm in shock how many people
It's
I know
crazy.
that are young.
You know,
But
a bright side might be like if you do chemo, maybe it'll cure your MS, like they say chemo does or anything like that. Um, sorry, I needed to make you smile just a little bit.
No, it's just, uh,
Yeah.
and my kid's like, Mom, like MS and cancer. I was like, look, my lesions got, alone up there. So some other lesions wanted to party. I don't know.
You're
I have
not
to
the
I'm
laugh.
first. You're not the first person I've heard that. Someone I knew got her husband died of cancer, and then I forgot what she got something, and then she got MS. I mean, that's that's. But all right, I'll be like John. The bright side is when people hear you have cancer, they sort of know what to do. When you tell people you have MS, you
I
seem
don't
fine
know.
to me. I don't
It
see it. Well, I'm
sucks.
having, brain fog, but I don't call it brain fog. I'm having like, no, you seem fine. Don't worry about it. So nobody will tell you don't worry about the cancer.
I don't know.
so so Jennifer, what are you doing to get yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, the whole package prepared for this win roll? Because I know at the very minimum you're gonna have some massive fatigue at the bare minimum. What are you doing, girl?
Okay, well,
What we can do to support you?
um, Miss Allison, I also in I'm in recovery myself, and so good for you for support groups are our thing. We have to surround ourselves with a good community, but anyways, so on Sundays at our we call the 228 Club here in Richmond, but it kind of offers different kind of support groups like AA and NA, SAA. So I started, um, you guys ready for this? A bereavement group on Sundays, which actually it's been really helping and it's been really successful. I started May 7th. So that helps a lot. Just kind of really um, taking the message on what I teach. So
So you said Richmond,
mhm.
California, or Richmond,
in
Virginia?
Indiana, we're
Indiana.
right beside the Ohio border. I'm going to do a
Okay.
John right beside the Ohio border. We're about like maybe an hour away from Indy. So, so that's what I got.
Mm,
So, but I've been just trying, and my son actually moved out about a month ago. So it's just me and my husband. So it's kind of weird. So, and my daughter's doing good. She's on her almost third trimester of her pregnancy. And so already she thinks it's moving slow. So I'm just holding on to those things. A
How
lot of
did you find
meditation.
out? How
Huh?
did you find out?
I went for being a social worker. You kind of neglect your health a little bit. And I kind of neglected my health. But my aunt, she got diagnosed and just finished her chemo for her. She had breast cancer. And so I was like, I really need to go get checked. And so I just did the whole shebang, mammogram. Um, then I had my pap smear, which came back abnormal. And then I went to get my colposcopy, not colonoscopy. That's next year, but colposcopy, which is a scraping kind of a of the uterus and cervix, I think, yeah. And that's where it was sent to the pathology and pathologist, and it came back.
So what does it mean though that they're saying how are they gonna figure out what stage it is? Gonna do more of
Um,
a deeper biopsy or?
they'll probably do, it's called a cone biopsy, where they take a little bit and go deeper in the tissue to see if it's like, but unfortunately, I have the one that likes to skip into the, uh, oh, uh, what are they called? Lymph nodes as well. So they're called skip lesions. Yay. Why not? So.
You don't have to answer this question, but did you have any symptoms to tip you off that something was amiss? Besides, I'm assuming you're close to my age, so you're probably TMI going through like the wonky perimenopause symptoms already. So
I'm going to be 44 next month, girl. I will shout it out. I'm okay. But
yeah, we're the same here. Yeah, we're the same here. Yeah, that's what I thought.
really, really bad menstrual cycles. Really bad.
Okay. I was just curious. I'm
But
always like
isn't
touch.
that par for the course of, maybe you're a little young, but
See, I didn't know anything about it. Like, I've never had issues like that ever.
well, it changes, because I've been there. I remember once, like big clots were coming out of me. I'm like, oh my God,
I'm
and it
dying.
was like
Yeah.
called normal. It was called normal, but yeah.
It wasn't
Well, I'm
normal
glad.
to me, I didn't think.
No, it wasn't normal to me either, but it's not normal to get that diagnosis. And whatever, it's a partial scare diagnosis too. It's
Hmm. It's the unknown, just like MS. It's unknown. So I'm kind of used to it, I guess.
Well, I'm glad you took the time out and did self-care and got checked out on a bunch and had the whole workup because
Whole workup.
how come you
I'm really
stopped
glad.
taking Avagio or whatever it was you were taking?
That's a good question.
It's a good question. Depression, probably. Not taking my pills. I'm not taking it. I'm being
From the
feisty.
from their cancer diagnosis or something else?
Just something else, probably. I like to think it's a lot to do, probably with a lot going on.
We have a lot of stuff going on. I mean, MS to begin with is a lot to go on, and then do a cancer diagnosis on top of it is pretty intense there. And from what you're telling me, it sounds like it was pretty out of the blue. You didn't know
Hmm.
that this was happening, so it's not like, oh, I should have gotten. You're just like, what? So, wow. I'm just trying to figure out how how what how do you prepare yourself to undergo everything you're going to undergo with social support and work and just the whole like I'm so
Not,
glad that you started a bereavement group because that's like sounds like the best place for you because you're grieving a lot because you're doing all this change.
and see, it sucks because there's no good therapy here, and I don't like to travel. It's just a lot to travel. Like with my work and stuff, anyways. I'm just exhausted. I'm just so
Yep.
exhausted.
And don't underestimate, especially you young people. You underestimate what MS does to your cognition because I'm definitely struggling with that I'm not struggling, I mean I'm aware of it. And because I tell people, I'm sorry I'm not drooling and babbling incoherently, although I think sometimes I kind of babble incoherently, but that the cognitive, I'm very aware from even when before I even got diagnosed. And then I had one neurologist say, "Oh, I don't see anything with your cognition, but I'm very aware of it. I mean, now it's inescapable." but don't diminish what that, like, especially it's all in your head because it's neurological, but just, depression or, like, I know I'm not depressed. I'm not, I have interest in things but I can't manage that. I can't remember. I can't manage this cognition thing. So don't just go, oh, well, I guess I was depressed and I'm neglecting myself. Because anyway, I'm an alcoholic and now I have, you can give yourself all that beating yourself up instead of just saying, this MS, it's real for everything, from messing with your body, from the fatigue to the cognitive to visual disturbances, bowel and bladder control, mobility, and the whole fear of it. So don't just blame it on depression or, it's
It just sucks.
it sucks. It does.
And I'm not one to tell my family anything. And I did tell my mom this, and she makes a good point. Damn it. So I did tell my kids, and because they're just getting out and starting life, and ugh, and I'm not one to do that. And so um, and now they're bugging the shit out of me. I love
Because
them
they
though. It's
care
good though.
about you.
I know, but
Isn't
it's
it
like,
the worst? People care about you, so now they
I just
become
want to be
annoying.
isolated. Kim, I just want to isolate and just be depressed.
I know, but then pesky people like check in and want to see how you're doing and want to help, and you're just like, ah.
I totally understand. But, oof, a lot of
Miss
medication.
Jennifer, one thing that I would raise with your doc um, is to get genetic testing to make sure that this isn't something that's inherited, so that because it could be it is something that can be in the family and you can pass it on. And do you have other cancer in the family or not?
Well, just like I said, my aunt had breast cancer, so that's why I went right to get a mammogram. Now, I did do some kind of searching and asking my dad's other real sister, and both my cousin and both aunts, actually all three aunts on his sisters had hysterectomies due to cancer.
Okay,
Mhm.
so it's probably really important, at least at this stage, early stage, just to get the germline, what's called germline or inherited um, testing. You can even do it with a mouth swab. Um, but if you talk to the doc, it should be covered by your insurance, and it can provide a lot of information, and also really important to review that history with your doctor, the family cancer history with your doctor.
Right.
Just saying. Okay, and I did see Allison had her hand up before, but then it went down again. Did you want to say something, Allison?
Well, I did want to mention something about the depression, but I was so interested in what Jennifer had to say that I took my hand down because what I have to say wasn't that important. I'm just suffering a lot from depression, and I have treatment resistant depression, and I know it's a symptom of MS, and it's really hard to treat right now. And I'm on medical disability. I've been on medical disability since December because of my cognitive function and depression. And um, I just kind of wanted to maybe hear of other stories of depression and how you try to overcome that, because right now it's a struggle to get through everything, to do anything, to take a shower, to do dishes, to do laundry, to make the bed, to change the sheets. It's all so exhausting, and it's really depressing. And right now I just lay in bed all day.
But I do a lot of that. And I mean, I understand, just because I understand that it's fatigue. It's all mixed up, and it's just so easy because there's not really any support. If you're depressed, it's your fault. Why don't you just get yourself together? It's sort of this, because that's everything, all the symptoms. I've had symptoms for like 21 years or more now. And it was always like, oh, well, you have anxiety. Oh, well, you have depression. Everyone, and Allison, you're new here, but I think everybody who's been in this group has been told that themselves. And my primary mentioned early on, she said, well, Karen, I think what you have is grief. It's like, thank you, Jennifer. Is that it's an ongoing grief, and it never ends because you keep losing more and more parts of yourself. And so I'm always monitoring, well, am I, everything's hard for me. I don't do stuff. And it's like, no, but I'm interested in things. I'm interested in things, and I don't want to use that word depression, because I think there's just so much more going on with MS that you just can't pin it on that. Then again, if you try antidepressants and they work, okay. But, like for me, my doctor, a couple of years ago, she said, it was during the pandemic, she goes, I don't want to, and it was about what made me find AnCan. She said, I don't want to, she said, I hope you don't take it the wrong way, but I'm wondering, if you should try antidepressants. And I thought, I'm really interested in food, and I make myself food, and I sing, but I haven't been doing that much anymore. But it's not depression. I'm not going to take antidepressants because my life is not what it was, and it never will be. I'm not saying anybody here who has depression or doing that, but just be cautious. I'm just very vigilant, and my doctor looks so disappointed that I had to find something to make her feel better. I found AnCan. I don't even know how. I was like up all night, and I went, there's a group. I need to tell her something that's positive. But I'm in bed a lot. I mean, I spend 14 hours a day in bed or more, and I'm just kinder to myself about this stuff. Like, I go out, I get up, I'm in bed for a really long time, then I get up, and then I putter around, I make something to eat, and I have an ambition, and I go, I think I'm going to go right back to bed. And I go, Karen, good for you. And I just think it's harder, especially when you're younger. Like I'm older, and I kind of get along better with the 80-year-olds because we're all kind of loopy. And I'll be 72, but I just endorse that. I don't feel like it. I was surprised I had dishes piling up in the kitchen sink, even though I have a dishwasher. And I went, that's okay, honey. You'll get to it when you want to, because it's just nothing worse than blaming yourself for having this lassitude. Is really what I learned from Dr. Ben Thrower with the MS Foundation. It's lassitude. It's not fatigue, and that's where Carmen said fatigue doesn't cut it. It's not fatigue it's not the word. She says, I hate that word, fatigue. And I said, well then, okay, I'll add some levity here. I don't know. I copied what I said to her. I don't know if I really want all of that in the chat. She said, I hate that word. So I said, how about and then I'll put it in the chat. How about using a different word? Ben Thrower from the Shepherd Center in Atlanta talked about lassitude. I'm going to have to read it. Well, anyway, but then here's my humor kicked in. That's why I go, I'm not depressed. He talked about lassitude. In response to your comment about fatigue, I'm now going to own the title of lethargian. See, and I'm going to put this part in for everyone. I invite you to be a member of my imaginary club when it suits your schedule and lifestyle. We're lethargians. We don't recruit. We don't collect dues. We don't maintain membership lists. We are far too tired to do any organizing.
What else do people have for recommendations for to helping with depression? What's helped you out?
All
I know
right.
that John and
Al-
go ahead.
yeah. Allison, hi, I'm John. We've met here tonight. Um, no wonder you're depressed. You know, like you said, you were diagnosed just a couple years ago.
In 2005, and
Okay,
I was on Rebif for since then. Uh, and then the interferon was just playing games with my depression, and I
sure.
couldn't do it anymore. So then I wasn't on anything for 2 years,
Okay.
and my neurologist went into clinical research, and she wasn't seeing anyone, and I didn't really trust. I I don't know. I just didn't see a doctor. I just didn't see a neurologist, and then I had a
That makes
relapse in
sense.
October.
Yeah. It feels like every time we hit a progression spot, Allison, and like you lose a part of your life, like you working is part of your identity. What were you doing as employment before you left?
Uh, I was an assistant vice president for an insurance company.
So that's a big part of your personhood, like, what you identify as. Like, I was the executive vice president of an insurance company, and now it hurts for me to get out of bed or even look at a computer for a long time. Well, shit, you know. Um,
Yep,
luckily,
yep.
I'm not resistant to any antidepressants. Um, so I take mine. Other stuff is that I do is exactly what you'll hear in the podcast, reading the books and the literature. I try to stay active however I can. What does that mean? Does that mean that I'm actively playing video games for like 9 hours a day? I don't know. Is that active? Um, but you being depressed is very understandable with everything that you have going on. Um, happens to all of us. And like what Karen was saying, that you know sometimes it's not just MS, it's other things. Aw, kiss goodnight. Awesome. What am I trying to say here, Karen? Like like they used to say, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Fuck that. If I reach down to pull up my bootstraps, I fall over. Like I talk a lot of shit for someone that falls over putting on his socks. You know. So my wife and I are searching for in-home care for me for when she has to leave for more than 3 or 4 hours. Allison, have you looked into anything like that? Are you able to have that?
I haven't looked into anything like that. My therapist sent me some information on that. Maybe my insurance would cover it. Um, but I mean, I can do things by myself. It's just the motivation and the enthusiasm and the enjoyment of things that's not there. There's no motivation to push me into the shower. I can take a shower by myself. It's just getting me in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's just getting me to the baseball games, getting me anywhere. It's like I'm
Yeah,
pushing through. I'm like through quicksand and mud, and it's so hard just to sometimes move because I'm so sore and so much in pain. Like my legs hurt all the time. I don't know. I don't want this to really like be about me.
no,
I
we're here
really
for
like
you.
to hear from other
No, it's
people.
not. We're all doing that. Like, just the way you're animated and the way you talk about things, and you do smile. You do,
Eh,
you don't really have this flat affect of depression. And like John said, everything you're going, oh, I have this pain, I can't get out of bed, and just it's that's enough to make you depressed. It doesn't mean that depression isn't there, but it's ongoing. You just never. I think I was lucky when my doctor just kept saying, Karen, I don't think you're depressed. I mean, just me, but I do feel depressed at times. And but she said, it's just grief, and it was like,
Mm.
yeah.
Allison, when was the last day you felt pain free? As I see everyone smiling and kind of chuckling to themselves.
Uh, Maybe one day last week.
Okay, so chronic pain wears
Right,
us the shit down, you know? Um, like I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired.
right.
Like that builds every day. And again, like I said, you've had MS for, a long time, been diagnosed. You had said that your neurologist was out. I can only encourage you to see a neurologist again, even though it might be someone that you don't like. And trust me, I've had my same person for 4 years. So that's the person I only want to go to. They know you and everything.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I found a new neurologist when I had my relapse in October, and I really like him. And my
Cool.
MS nurse from MS
Good.
Lifelines contacted me and said, "Hey, I'm making an appointment for you, Allison. You're going to go to this appointment." And that's that. And I
Yeah.
really enjoy him, and he's really good, really sympathetic.
So
Good.
I
What's
just
M?
wanted to piggyback on what Karen was saying. I was crying nonstop, and I was told I was depressed. And I was put on Cymbalta, and I was on that drug for 10 years. And when I tried to come back off of it, I started crying again. It wasn't depression. Like Karen said, it wasn't a lack of wanting to do things. It wasn't even sadness. I was crying at like a prom event. Like it was not, I mean, literally, like it was, I wasn't even sad, and I was crying. So I found out it's pseudobulbar affect. Okay, so that's an MS symptom for some of us. So we're all sad, and we like they've been saying, maybe you are depressed, in which case, go see a therapist and let them help you figure that out, but don't necessarily go straight to depression, because we all hold a lot of sadness. And Jennifer, if you have the opportunity maybe to see or talk to somebody like teletherapy, maybe uh, that way you can basically talk to a therapist the way that you're talking to this group now, and you don't have to leave your house, you don't have to find somebody in your remote area. You can talk to somebody um, that way. So I wanted to throw that out for you as well.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Andrea.
the online, I use betterhelp.com, and I've found a really good therapist that I use, and I see her once a week online, and they match me with her, and I love her. Yeah.
And
So I
another
think that's a good
option is
suggestion.
MS Friends with the National MS Society, where they will pair you up individually with another person who has multiple sclerosis. So you can always call an MS navigator at the National MS Society and ask them about their MS Friends program as well.
Oh,
Allison,
you're
you're
on
on
mute.
mute. Are you talking? You look like you're talking, Allison.
Oh, I just kept repeating MS Friends, MS
Oh,
Friends, MS
You
Friends.
want to put it in the chat, Andrea?
yeah, I will.
What was the other thing? There were two things you said, and I can't retain information. At least I don't have to explain to you why. But you said MS line or something. You talked to an MS nurse or an MS line.
Yeah, so it was through Pfizer because I was on Rebif for 15 years, and they have an MS nurse, and they'll reach out to you and contact you and come out to your house, and they'll talk to you, and how are things going? Are you still taking your medicine?
And isn't that
Um,
amazing to have? I mean, my neurologist has a nurse, and I can call her anytime, and she always has time. It just blows me away. But
oh,
what a thing, that I can get every little iota of concern out of me. So yeah, I didn't know what that was. And then you also said, wait, how'd you find the therapist? I can't remember how you said you found that.
I just went through betterhelp.com, and I know that there's a lot of online therapy platforms now. I just found BetterHelp, and I just really liked kind of their philosophy, and the fact that they really took the time to match me with my therapist. It took a couple days, but it was very inclusive, and I could check a lot of boxes off, and then I got the therapist that I have now, and I just saw her this morning, and I need solution based therapy. I don't need to talk about my past, my childhood. I don't need to talk about any of that stuff. I need you to tell me what to do every day. Give me a plan, write it out for me, and then I can check off the boxes. And I don't know what to do. She tells me what to do. And that's when I feel kind of inadequate, kind of stupid, that I can't make decisions on my own, but it was betterhelp.com.
So that, and then who pays for the help for the therapy?
I pay for it out of pocket. For
So yeah.
It ends up being $65 a session,
But look,
and that's
you're taking care of business. Yeah.
yeah.
That's why I'm thinking, I'm putting in the chat this video that I saw of Dr. Ben Thrower, because it really was the best explanation for me of what the hell is going on with us. Okay, there's this list of things, and I'm sorry, but I don't agree with everybody's different. Everybody's different, period. Everybody who gets cancer is different, but there's some trajectory, there's some things that are pretty
Thank you,
much
Karen.
kind of guaranteed. And so I'm going to put that in because I go back to it and I took screenshots and I went, oh, this explains it. Just because you are being proactive and you're saying my mind doesn't work, I can't, that's me. My mind doesn't work. I can't remember. I need you to tell me that. That's not somebody who's depressed. I mean, yes, you're depressed, of course. I'm constantly battling with that because I'm not the person I was, and I'll never will be. And I'm constantly, kind of forgetting. Like I forget I can't, my right hand's paralyzed. I can't even pick up a pen. I don't be able to play music anymore. Then I decided, well, I'm going to have a birthday. Let me invite people. I got to come up with a song. And then just a song that I like. And I was like, oh, I can't remember how to play it. Let me see. And then I wound up playing other songs and I was so happy. And it's like, we forget, I mean, we just forget, like, what's going to make me happy? What's going to make me feel good? And can I do it? Can I find the energy to do it? I forget, I had an issue with just today, bowel and bladder stuff. And I had to take matters in my own hand, think about what that means. And I just forget. Like, I know I'm supposed to put bran on stuff. Well, it was in the freezer and I had to put it in another jar. Then I took the jar out and then I didn't put the stuff in the jar. And then, it wasn't until I had a real problem today that I went, oh, I forget to do these things. And yeah, it's freaking depressing. But
So,
it's,
Allison, I try to find as much joy in life as I possibly can. And if that means I need to hire somebody to come in and clean my house, because that way I'll have the energy to join Hannah's art class, then so be it. I'm going to ask for help. And by ask for help, I mean I'm going to pay somebody to clean my house and I'm not going to feel guilty about it. I'm going to feel like, well, you know what? That's what it takes for me to do the things that I enjoy instead of things I don't enjoy and not having the energy to do the things I do.
Mhm.
So it's all about managing energy. And
Okay,
so,
I'm going to rehire my housekeepers now. Thank you,
yes,
Andrea.
I was
yes.
gonna say hire someone to do something that, I mean, having
Mow the
someone come and clean
yard.
our house, oh, it'll
Yep.
be very hard, very hard. But because we've done that, my wife has more energy
Yep.
and she's not hurting herself as much trying to help me get out of, the shower, then doing this and doing all that stuff. She hasn't had time to enjoy herself, and self-help for our caregivers. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, it's important. But yeah,
Yep.
Allison, screw it. Hire someone to do your lawn too,
Yep.
you
Mm.
know.
but there's a caveat to that. So I mean, I had to look. I had a social worker, and really just she was so great, but she transferred to another department, and then I told because I was going downhill again, and all of it, physically, mentally, and my doctor told me a year ago. She goes, I don't know, I don't think you'll like her. So I thought I'd give her a try. Well, she was beyond appalling. She was so appalling that it was like, okay, it's almost comical. She's like, well, I don't understand what you want. I said, there's some social workers that take care of the whole. They look at the whole picture. And then there's some that just want to give you lists. So she's asking me, well, what do you want a list? Do you want a list of caregivers? I said, look, I'm just checking in with you. I just want to know, when I was with Lupita would, you know, help me prioritize and set goals, and and I'll check in with you in a month. Or I think I was going to have a meeting with my neurologist, who I do like now, but I had an issue. She goes, you want me to call you the next day to see how it was? Yes, thank you. And then this one was just, I don't understand what you want. I said, look, I have atrophy, because I've learned that's another thing to tell
Mm.
people, that I have atrophy of the brain, atrophy of the musculature, atrophy. It's because you say MS. Well, I know someone, they have MS and they're okay. Or why don't you, I have
Mm.
atrophy. My brain. So I tell her this. My brain is atrophied. It's continuous. I don't even say progressive, because that's a stupid word. It's atrophy. It's not progressive. Progressive sounds positive, and it's not. And still, sometimes it's just tapping the right people to give you what you need. So Lupita helped me, like, try to find a house cleaner. I had a few, and now I have one, and she's really nice, and this family is really nice, and they've done a lot of things for me. She's not the best house cleaner, and I'm home a lot, so I'm always like tidying up. And she called after 2 months. She goes, you want me to come? I was like, no, no, I don't. I already just changed the bed. I didn't tell her that. So she came after 3 months. It's very hard to find a house cleaner that's willing to come, at your At your and no, I don't want it in the morning. And then I said, okay, well, what about next week? Okay, I could do Monday or Friday. She goes Friday. Then she emails me later or texts me later, and she goes, how about Monday? I didn't respond. I'm just putting my foot down. We settled on Friday. Then Sunday, she goes, do you want me to come tomorrow? It's like, no, no, I'm not flexible anymore. No, I can't do it. Is it okay if I come at 11? No, I don't want anyone here before noon or 1. It just so exhausting to have to constantly go, this is me. I don't know if I'm going to sleep enough. I don't know if I'm going to feel. I don't want anybody here even before 1. Okay, 12. But then occasionally, but she was here and she's been here many times and she knows my routine. And I just left that thing going. I don't want to supervise anyone because I know I'm looking at needing a caregiver. I don't want to supervise anyone. I don't want to tell people how to do things. I don't want to make sure that this got done the way I want to do. So there's a caveat with the house cleaning. I'm so glad I have a house cleaner, but it's all this negotiating and whether you're quote depressed or not depressed or just have cognitive issues, to constantly supervise everything and it's just that's depressing on its own. So just I can see you've smiled more than once, more than twice, more than 3 times in this group. So it's just not to diminish the depression, and if meds would help and you feel better, good, but if not, it's just
I
we've been dealt a bad deck.
I mean,
So
just
who
because you're smiling doesn't mean you're not depressed. I'm the
True.
smilest guy in the damn universe. You guys know me. Come on. Yay, but I'm still fucking depressed as shit. Oh, sorry for the language, any new people.
so who else would like to comment on things that has helped with depression? Like anyone that hadn't spoken yet, like Frank, Marie, Marlo, Sherry, anything? Anything you'd like to add? Go ahead,
Go
Sherry.
ahead, Sherry.
Um, Allison, I know where you're at. I'm in the same boat. Um, I've been on every antidepressant under the sun. I was gene site tested, and those still took those, and they didn't work. I'm sorry I don't have anything to encourage you, but I I look up like funny videos. Like I get really low and I cry and for no reason. And my daughter's like, just think positive. I'm like, no, it doesn't work that way, you know? But I try and do maybe like a funny book from the library or funny videos on YouTube or something like that. And then I read self-help books. I mean, I search the internet all day. Um, and I think another thing is that people need people. Are you around people?
My
Yeah.
children, I have 2 teenagers and a partner, and that's about it. I'm home all
They're
day, and then I
they're
just
they're not people.
drive them around all day.
Hmm.
Yeah, they're not people. They're like,
Family.
your kids. They're family. They don't count as people. And this is the most I get to talk to anyone. Like at one time, I don't get out, so I know how you feel.
Yeah, I tried to start an MS support group up here, but even the MS Society, that nobody could help me. They couldn't find anyone to start a group. Because, online is great and it's my saving grace. But sometimes you just need to talk to people, face to face.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
bashing the group at all. Don't get me wrong, because
No.
it's great, and if it's all you got, that's so I started a disabled group and I'm scared shitless. Sorry.
It's going to be great, Sherry. We just started an MS support group here on the Outer Banks. Right now, there's 2 of us. We're hoping to
Well,
get it growing.
at least they're disabled. I mean, they don't have MS, but I mean,
Sherry, Marlo, you and I, Dan and Jennifer all live in the same state, but that doesn't mean anything when it comes to Michigan a lot of times, right?
It's
Like
still
the
hours away.
Yeah.
yeah, um, like try to find one in my city. Yeah, up there. I'm over here on our map, but yeah, our towns are pretty small sometimes. Yeah, except for the guy pointing here. But yeah, we
Yeah.
can't do anything about it because we live
Right.
in, you know,
Mhm.
smaller areas, and that sucks.
Exactly.
Okay, John, I'm originally from New York. I'm from here.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I thought that was Chicago.
Oh, I thought it was Long Island.
Any major city. The other things I would recommend, Allison, there was a point where I was pretty much bedbound for 5.5 months, and I couldn't understand. I didn't get it. Everything was just moving, was a hard time. Rinsing off a plate was incredibly exhausting. And a couple of things I would recommend that helped me out. First of all, I had to really change my point of view and attitude about myself because I was really harsh on myself. Like, what do you mean you can't do the basic things? Like, you used to be able to do blah, blah, blah. So I had to totally change my perspective and go, hey, if you can get out of bed, change your clothes, and brush your teeth, you did amazing today. That's all you have to accomplish. You're good enough. There's nothing wrong with that. Anything else is cherry on top, icing. It's amazing. So I had to really match what I could do with my expectations because my expectations and my reality were very vastly different, and that was causing greater depression, if that makes sense. Because I'm like, I can't even do. Why can't I take a shower? Like, why is this so hard? And it's just like, look, this is all I'm going to do. And so I had to cut myself massive slack and self-care and treat myself like I treat my friends because we always tend to be the harshest on ourselves. At least I am. So I had to like treat like my friends instead. And the other thing I had to do is I had to start because everything was so overwhelming. I had to break everything down into the smallest pieces possible. So for an example, last week I've needed to clean the fridge for a really long time, guys. I'm embarrassed to even say it, but I finally got to a point where like I got to do something. But the idea of cleaning the entire fridge is like massive, overwhelming, and draining. So I was like, fine, I'm just gonna take out one shelf and I'm gonna stick it in the sink. I'm gonna get hot soapy water, let it soak, and I'm gonna scrub it, dry it, put it back in, and then if I have more energy, I'll go to the next one. If not, I'll stop. And I was able to get three things done on the fridge, which was amazing. But I had to go in the attitude of I'm just gonna tackle one, finish it, and if I have the energy, I will continue. If I don't, I can stop, and there's nothing wrong with that. Completely okay. And that's helped me a lot, is just breaking it down into smaller and smaller steps. And I've also learned to like the way I clean and tidy up I do it now so I can stop at any time and I don't leave a mess, which has been fantastic for me. And then the other thing, which sounds crazy because like I don't have any energy, but they say studies exercise is super important. So one of the exercises that I am actually going to get myself back into now that I feel more comfortable going to places, but you don't have to go anywhere because YouTube is amazing, is Tai Chi or Qigong. And you can do that sitting down if you Google and you think like, well, these slow controlled movements with this breathing in and out, that's not doing anything. I'm not like raising my heart rate. It actually does quite a bit for your energy, believe it or not. At
And
least my
Sherry, it
personal
is
experience.
available. I'm sorry, it's available right now on Amazon Prime for free. There are seated Tai Chi videos right there.
Thank you, John. I did not know that. I have Amazon Prime. I got to put that down. Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah. So that's something I would also look at doing. And if you only can do 5 minutes, just do 5 minutes. It's totally okay. We're not doing, we're just doing a little bit at a time. And I had to get re frame my mind and my brain of doing a little bit all the time is better than trying to, like, I can't pull weeds more than maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and that's it. And it has to be nice and cool and all these other factors. But I will make progress if I do that. So
I
that's,
want to
but I,
testify about Kim. I'm going to
mhm.
testify about Kim because when I first came to groups, sometimes people would make suggestions that didn't work for me, and I'm like from New York, I'm grumpy, and Kim's not grumpy. And so I can testify that Kim, you are like a little bird on my shoulder with things that, maybe at the time when you said it, it's whatever, it didn't mean anything to me. But, uh, yeah, like not a few months ago, I was losing again more function, and Kim would say, "Karen, have you remembered to grieve?" And I thought, oh, I didn't think about that. And the next day, I was at a class that I take, and I was like, oh, there it is. Or you've talked about reading children's books. You'd say, I can't concentrate. I just read children's books. And it's like, I don't want to read children's books. But I found out because even when you had made a recommendation about a book, I thought, God, it sounds so juvenile. So now I do ebooks and audiobooks, especially audiobooks. I like that a lot. But ebooks, and then sometimes they have the youth version, and now that's what I do. They like the youth version. They're not. I don't want to read children's book, but the youth version. That's kind of like breaking it all down for me. It's like, thank you, Kim. Thank you so much. And then also, you talk about like, I've really cut down on clutter in my home. Yeah, that's the thing most people have. But like my living room is very uncluttered and clean because what happened to my teapot? Where did that? I couldn't know. And I just go, oh, I have to wait until it surfaces again. Oh, it was in the microwave. And so I'm really kind of mindful. The kitchen still could be somewhat messy, but it's not horrific. But that you don't need like extra clothes. You don't need extra stuff. So I'm testifying. Listen to Kim when she gives advice.
Yeah, I was reading today. I'm going through, like, I'm starting to declutter like all the more emotional or hard stuff, and I was just decluttering old coursework, and I can't, like, all the science stuff. It just goes over my head, but I don't let it. Before, that would really bother me, like, oh my gosh, I don't understand this, or it's just my brain's glazing over, and I'm like, nope, doesn't apply to me. Don't have to worry about it. It's okay. And that wasn't an overnight thing. That was many years in the process. But I've come a long way from that, where I'm just like, oh yeah, this is interesting to read, but I don't remember anything, and that's okay. It's okay to not remember it. It's fine. That's not my part of my life anymore, and that's okay. But it took me a while to get there. Absolutely. I still love reading children's books. They're so great. And I'll read something, I'm like, oh nope, that's too technical now. I can't read that anymore. So I have to change it, which is fine. Which is fine. Before, just so you know, Allison, I did big science, and I was a big science geek before my previous MS life. So
And then I
yeah.
found out a new thing besides the children's books, and like a year ago, it was somebody who I knew that Kim had recommended. I said, it sounds so juvenile. I didn't realize she had a juvenile book. But now even the juvenile things are hard because I'm very interested in social justice stuff and I read a lot of things and I can't remember. But now, because I'm on this Libby app from the library with the ebooks, they'll say, hey, here's a summary of this book. And I go, wow. Thank you. Point number one, point number two. And it's like, thank you, because I can't remember. So, yeah, I'm over a lot of stuff. I'm dumping things too. I've been slowly like dumping things from my work life because it isn't me. I'm never going to do it again. It doesn't matter. But it's a constant readjustment. But Kim's my hero.
Aw, well, thanks, Karen. Appreciate it. And the other little thing that popped in my brain, if you haven't done it, I know a lot of people like me with cognition issues. Closed captioning is very important when you want to watch something so you can understand it. So I always use that as a tip. Okay, unless anyone else has any other things, let's move on to, let's see, we'll go with John next. I want to get to everybody that wanted to talk tonight.
There's
Anything
nothing
else?
better than. Oh, sorry.
Anyone else want to say anything else for depression before we move on to the next subject? All right, John, you have
I
the
forgot
floor.
what I was gonna say.
It's okay. We
No, I
can go to
mean
someone
like what
else.
I was just about to say. Oh,
I
so
messed it up.
no, it's all good. It's whatever. Oh, I love reading a good movie. Close
Yes.
close
Yes.
because you can't always hear what they're saying. I actually go to closed captioning in movie theaters as well now. That's a cool thing that the theater by me offers. Anyways, I'm currently being weaned off of gabapentin, and it sucks ass. Like, don't ever wean. So
Are they
that's
going
one.
slower than slow? Are they like doing a super slow taper?
So I was only on
How? What's your
900
okay?
milligrams, which is a lower dose.
Your
So
total
for the
dose a day is 900.
yeah, so like I said, it's a
Okay.
lower dose. So my doctor was just kind of wondering, like if my opioid might take over some of that stuff. And so we started going from 3 a day to 2 a day. Now I'm on 1 a day, and it's not cutting it. It's making me emotionally volatile, to put that kindly. Um, so I hope we can get that back on track, or I hope that this feeling, smooths out and goes away.
May I ask you why we were weaning off of gabapentin? Are they changing you something else, or?
Unknown, this is currently an experiment with my lovely neurologist. She said, you do have some other pain medications that you're taking. So we're trying to get rid of the clutter and overlapping stuff as best as we can.
What's the
Because
gabapentin for? Or what is it supposed to do?
nerve pain for me. Um,
But how does it do it? Well, do you remember, Kim?
I,
She's a
I,
pharmacist.
I,
I have to look
I,
it up.
I don't know. I don't know.
It works in your brain. Is that good enough for you, Karen?
You know,
Well,
Kim,
because I had a friend who was detoxing from gabapentin and he hated it. He hated that whole thing, and it's like one of the big sellers of whoever the pharmaceutical company is. So, but I don't remember what it is.
Yeah, a lot of like pain drugs, especially any drugs like that affect the brain, like any of your psych meds and stuff. You don't want to cold turkey those. You want to taper it slow, or you might
Yeah,
have a really bad time. I tapered it when I went off of Cymbalta. I did a 2.5 month taper. We went slow, and it was still
yeah,
one hell of
yeah,
a ride. And I had massive because I got it on it for nerve pain, and he said, "Oh, I'll help treat depression too." And once I weaned off of it, and then once I was totally down to zero for like 5 months, I had this pain because it was like everything just got unmasked that it was covering,
yeah,
and I was
yeah.
just like, it was really bad. And I'm just like, okay, just let it normalize, let it normalize. Once it normalizes, you won't notice it anymore. And so it did after 5 months go away, but it was a brutal 5 months for
Sure,
sure.
sure, absolutely. Um, so I had a neurologist appointment like a week and a half ago. Things are cool. Because I've been feeling kind of cruddy lately, she wanted to make sure it wasn't a relapse. And we're just like, no, I'm just tired lately, like this past couple days. Um, and she said, oh, you haven't had a fever or anything, so that just means that your medicine's working fine. We're going to keep that there. Um, and then we started looking at the other medicine, trying to pare those down. And my neurologist and my primary care have finally talked. They're part of the same team now. And so last Monday, I get a message saying, hey, John, your primary care and I were talking, and we were thinking about putting you on this medicine. It was like a GAP-1 or something. So I looked it up. It's something to help stabilize your diabetes and has a neat side effect of weight loss. So they're saying maybe John loses some weight, maybe it won't be so much pressure on him. So I'm taking an A1C medicine that has a good side effect. Um, but of course, I was like, ooh, needles, needles, needles. Like I could draw blood, like whatever. Like I can take it out myself. Don't care. Have some. But being responsible to inject myself every day, mm, I don't know. So I looked it up on YouTube. I found out that it's like I see commercials for this stuff. Um, trying to think of how to say it. It's like a common thing that doctors know the side effects of. So it's really even being prescribed more for the side effects than the main thing. Um, but I've gotten over like the needle thing because I looked it up and it's just like an EpiPen and it hurts as much as like a finger prick for diabetes. So I'm over it. I'm excited to start, see what happens. But I do like that my team is together now and consulting each other. But I hate detoxing gabapentin. I've had to do it before and it sucks.
Wasn't it in this group that we talked about that some states are going to schedule gabapentin now?
It might
It
not be in
is
here.
scheduled.
Oh,
It is
yeah.
scheduled in
It
some
is
states.
in
Yeah.
Michigan.
In Michigan, it is.
Yeah.
I
I
thought
just Googled it
Oh, yeah,
because
sure, you know.
I was confused. I just Googled it. Got different things. April 19th, 2023. This article discusses the dangers. It says the title of the article was Gabapentin Ruined My Life. Addiction Signs, Withdrawal Effects. Something like, here, try gabapentin. Okay. It ruined my life. Gee.
Oh, I wonder if that person was using it illicitly, like not
No,
as
I don't
directed.
think so. Yeah,
Well,
I mean, I don't know.
that's
I
why it's
didn't read the article, but
that's
can
why it's scheduled in Michigan.
gabapentin.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and I had no idea it could do this. Emotionally, I was a wreck. I felt like my life was ruined. That's just another one. So I didn't know, and I gabapentin horror, but I know I had somebody really close to me, and he was talking about it.
it's because it affects your neurotransmitters in your brain, and some people are more sensitive than others. And when you add something or decrease it, then it can, some people can start an antidepressant very easily, no problem. Other people, like, they take a mini dose and it's like, whoa, and they have to go low and slow because they're just really sensitive to it. So,
We're
but it
all
is a
different.
great, go ahead.
We're all different.
We're all different. Yeah, it is a great drug though. It can do really great things. But like with any drugs, there's side effects, and sometimes to get in and off of it are really tough. Like I know when I got off of Cymbalta, I was like, I'm never gonna go on an SSNRI again. I was so like gun ho. Like I don't know if you could convince me. Maybe it's been enough time has passed that I'd be, "Oh, I'll try it again." But it was a horrible experience. So anyway.
And speaking of all these, I just looked Cymbalta up because I thought it was an antidepressant. But if
It
anybody
is.
watches TV at night, which I never used to do, but I don't really have much of a life anymore, so I'd always have like one show I'd watch if I could. Now I'm like, all right, I'll watch that one. And if all night long, it's just these commercials, and everybody's being recruited as, and it's also, they're patient, they're people, it's like some people in this group are getting paid to be patient advocates for these medications. And I don't know, I don't want to add more to Jennifer's anxiety, but you got cancer. I could just see them going crazy with, let's try this, let's try that, what about this, what about that, it's something to consider. Do I need to ask more detailed questions, get a second opinion, get a third opinion? Is this something I should do? Because I know as soon as I got diagnosed with MS, it was nonstop. I literally took notes, but I can't remember what they were. But literally, I got hundreds of phone calls within a matter of months. Hello, this is Kaiser. Okay, like do this, let's do that, let's check this out, let's try this, let's try that. That it's overwhelming. And you add yourself another diagnosis. Wow.
I was just gonna say, Karen, when you mentioned the TV, I can't watch TV because it actually worsens my depression and it makes me feel awful. I can't stand watching advertisements because they tell me how inadequate I am and I need XYZ. So I avoid them like the plague. But I don't do well. Like if you want to make me depressed, like make worsen it, sit me in front of a TV all day and I will be not in good pain. Good at the end of the day. I will be a hot mess.
I was
Worse.
never
I will be way
interested.
worse.
Yeah, I was never interested in TV, but I get mad with all those drug companies because I feel like they're just really exploiting people
Do you know
and
there's only two
exploiting
countries in the
situations.
world they can do direct to consumer prescription advertisements to?
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys know the second one? US is one. What's number two?
Canada.
Nope, not Canada.
Yeah.
Guam.
Guam?
Guam is part of the
New
US.
Zealand, New Zealand, New Zealand. You're not hearing me.
Exactly, Andrea. New
What New
Zealand.
Zealand?
Wow.
New Zealand's the only other country in the world that allows direct to consumer advertisements for prescription medications.
I am
Ask your doctor
extremely
about.
anti-pharma. Like, it just sickens me that I have a disease that requires me to either take a drug or allow brain damage. Like, that just
Yeah.
Well, there's lots of other non-pharmacological things you can do too that may help slow down your progression.
right.
Some of them are very expensive, some of them are very extreme, but there are options. Pharmacological is not the only way, and you can use a combination of it. I know for me, which sounds like it's a what you can say like complementary or alternative treatment that I have felt that's helped me out a lot with my foot pain and stuff. I do reflexology once a month, and she's good. And I actually had the day after my dog was at the ER and overnight before her massive surgery, I had this massive foot pain overnight. So I text her, I'm like, "Do you do ER reflexology?" And so she came over after we going to church, and she worked on my feet, and it worked great, and I was great. But it was just like it surprised me. And then she'll do my feet, and she's like, "Are you having problems with your knee today?" I was like, "How
How
do
did
you
you
know these
know that?
things? How did you know that?" Like, "Oh wow, you're having lots of inflammation today." I'm just like, "Whoa!" It's like, "Are you a fortune teller?" So
And I go for massage when I can. There's
I
these.
do that
I sort
too.
of don't like to push it, but these Chinese massage. I just have
Ah.
this one woman who's amazing. I mean, it was $40. It just went up to 45. I tip her 20 because she like just works on me. And I go for the foot reflexology is what they call it, and because I need that. It helps with my balance. I stand up. Yeah, unfortunately, my wonderful osteopath primary care provider can only see me like every 5 or 6 weeks now, where she was seeing me every 2 or 3 weeks, and then doing a little with the massage in between. And to her credit, she goes, "Are you still going to Chinatown?" I go, "It's not Chinatown. My doctor's Asian." She goes, "My bad." I said, "No, but it's just a Chinese massage parlor." So we don't talk. I can't talk to her in English, but she just like touches me, and she just knows. But the foot thing really helps with the balance, and it kind of straightens me out. It levels me out. And my doctor said, let's just consider her part of your treatment team at this point. And so, yeah, there is complementary things if I
Well,
remember to go.
massage for me has been like vital. It's not a luxury, it's a necessity. And when they shut down the massage therapists in 2020, my muscles
Oh,
got
right.
super tight, and I ended up having to go to physical therapy because I was so tight. And yeah, but going once a month just keeps me functioning. And I was totally, it really showed in 2020 when I couldn't go to massage therapist. And I didn't have that problem before. So, yeah, if you can do that stuff, check it out. I get great help from that. Is there anything else that I know, Karen, you said you wanted to talk tonight. Did you feel like you got to cover what you wanted to cover tonight, Karen, when you said you wanted to talk earlier tonight?
um, you know what? It just worked out because, some is like my cognition is worse. It's really hard for me to organize things. And then I wanted to put my joke in about the lethargians. I mean, it's a joke, but it isn't. And it came from Carmen saying, I hate that word fatigue. I said, well, let me just give you another word. And then and then I just got creative with like, oh, okay, no, we don't take dues, we don't take money, But and then all the other things that people talked about. It's just I'm going through that. I'm going through all that, and I'm losing more and more function, and yeah, and just to find those things that make me feel good, that make me happy, like going to the pool. But we had a long winter. I know I shouldn't say that in California, but I'm more sensitive to cold. But I know that if I go to the pool, because I actually talk to people there, like John, yeah, I don't get to talk to people, and there's like a little cadre there of people, and trying to get to, it was a big deal for me to have a birthday. I just went, oh my God, it's in 2 weeks. It took me a while to create a invitation, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's in 2 weeks, and I haven't put it out there yet. And who's gonna come? And then like two of my besties are gonna come, and I was like, well, when I had a foster daughter, if you two best friends are coming, it's good enough. And but just for me to be so vulnerable and say, I need to know I still matter. And like Sherry, like you said, the face to face, and everyone has cell phones, and they deprioritize the connection. So, and my friends a lot of them are older than me, like 81. They don't hear, and I can't stand that. I just want to do. So I've been doing Zoom, because you can get a free account for 45 minutes. And so we just stay on, and it was like, okay, let's just go back in there again, and let's do it. And that's just really helped. And then I wanted to do it with another friend yesterday, the one who was saying me the birthday thing. And I already hit the bed when she called me, and I was just too tired to do a Zoom. But just for me to put out there, can if you don't want to come on Sunday, just come another time, do something with me. It's just, I feel like I don't matter. And I think Google, I just read, because I need to know that I matter. And then Google made, I think they called it a sticker, but I think they copied what I said. And so I put it in there. I need to know that I matter. And another thing I do, which I've been doing for a while, because I do it here, I act as if I matter.
Everybody matters.
No,
Sometimes we
but I
don't feel
act
that
as if
way.
I matter, because it's very easy to just go, oh, it's like, but I just decided, my opinions annoy people sometimes. And I'm like, that's okay. I'm going to act as if I matter. That's my prescription for you, Jennifer, and I know you do it, but just act as if you matter.
Jennifer, since you are my age, I have to ask you a childhood question. Okay, I am now again obsessed with stickers. So when I go on my trip in a couple months, I'm getting stickers. Did you need stickers? Do I need to send you stickers that I buy? Okay. Text me your address, and I need to put on my note to send you stickers.
What kind of stickers? What do you mean?
Like, your travel stickers you buy and stuff. Yeah. I was talking to one of my older friends the other day, and I'm like, "This you didn't have stickers when your generation." She's like, "No." I'm like, "My generation, the 80s and 90s, we were stickers." Yeah, yeah. There we go. All right. And okay. Saying that, Andrea and Sherry, was there anything you wanted to share before we close tonight? You were a question mark earlier in the evening.
Not for me. It's late East Coast time. I was just about to hit the leave button.
Okay. Well, our next meeting is in 2 weeks, June 13th. And you guys have a wonderful night. Thanks for joining. I'll have a little after party here once I record for just a little bit because I did not sleep last night. But really great conversation tonight. Love seeing everybody. And thank you for dealing with my extra cock fog tonight. I appreciate it. Appreciate you guys' being empathetic and gentle about it. Okay.